Hey there, this is the One Boom, and today's video is going to be short and sweet. We are going over the important parts of today's massive Black Ops 6 update, going over just the important stuff. I was going to do a video where I read everything on the patch notes, but most of it is not going to pertain to you, or it's just not interesting. If you want to read the whole patch notes, go over to callofduty.com and look up their patch notes. But I'm talking about the specific thing that they did that's really big, because it's not really specific, it's broad. They did every AR and every SMG. Before we get into the AR and SMG changes, because there is a lot of them, the first thing I have to mention is that Recon has been nerfed. The specialty Recon, the last video I did was about this, is nerfed now. So now Recon is going to last for 1.5 seconds instead of 2, and you can't select a loadout later in the game to activate the Recon specialty, mid-game or whatever. Yeah, this is dumb. I'm glad they fixed the exploit with it, but they just reduced the amount of time that there's wall hacks on spawn. But Treyarch, the issue is that there are wall hacks on spawn. They point out in the patch notes that apparently Enforcer is the most used perk specialty and Recon is second. So I am so concerned that even though they said they're going to do more tweaks on Recon before Season 1, which is great, I'm concerned that this tweak was done so poorly because their numbers say it's not even being used the most. They say in their patch notes that it's not just about data, as your feedback is critical to how we approach the tuning of the live game. With that said, we are making some spot adjustments today as we continue to take a holistic look at our perks and combat specialties going forward. That is wonderful, but Treyarch, you have wall hacks in your game, get them out. They also made score streaks harder to get. They actually increased the score cost with the dispatcher perk for the UAV and the CUAV. So instead of 500 or 550, it's going to be 550 and 600. So the CUAV and UAV cost 50 more score with dispatcher, which really sucks. Getting a score streak in this game is so tedious and requires so much building for it, and now they've just nerfed that. It is so classic Treyarch to discourage players from going on massive streaks, but there is some good things here. They did increase the health of the UAV and counter UAV from bullets, so people should have to use rockets to shoot them down quickly. Then they also increased the initial explosion radius of the napalm strike. That's fantastic. They reduced the initial delay entry of the LDBR, meaning it should come in sooner. That's fantastic. And they increased the fly-in speed of the strategic bomber. Also very good. That thing should be instant, and also it should blow up people through thin walls because that streak is fucking pointless, but awesome. I'm glad it's buffed. Then they reduced the score cost for interceptors. So not only did they make it harder to get streaks by making CUAV and UAV less effective with dispatcher, they also reduced the score cost for interceptors, which is the streak that shoots down enemy streaks. So, not sure what they're cooking here. I don't like this. This looks bad. They did nerf flashbangs, however. Flashbangs are now going to be 20% less in your face. Yeah, so you get 20% of your life back when you get flashed now, which is great. I mean, honestly, when I would live stream this game, I get flashbanged, I'd rather just go do a Q&A. I feel like I can at least get like one question and one answer done on stream every time I'm flashed, so I'm glad that's been reduced by 20%. Maybe I'll actually be able to play the game. Movement updates. They did adjust the stance change cooldowns to reduce the effectiveness of repeated prone to stand movement, so snaking has been nerfed. That's fantastic. Snaking is super annoying. And then I'll just read you the XP earn rate changes they made. They said that they adjusted player XP and weapon XP earn rates for most modes to ensure that players are being rewarded for their match performance as expected whenever they play. These changes include increased weapon XP earn rates for most modes, and they increased player XP earn rates for Team Deathmatch, Control, S&D, and Gunfight. They did a slight decrease to player XP and weapon XP earned in face-off modes. Thank God. So they are nerfing your progression on tiny clusterfuck maps, trying to make sure you guys do not just grind face-off 6v6 until the end of the game's life cycle. This is something that Call of Duty developers have been too scared to do with stuff like shipment, and I am super happy to see it here. There's a lot of other changes and fixes. Again, you can go read them for yourself. They're not that interesting. So now we need to look at weapons. This is the interesting stuff. This is the stuff you're here for. This is the fact that every AR and SMG has been tweaked. This is important. Across the board with almost every assault rifle, the damage has been reduced by at least 1 or 2, and the range has been increased. Specifically, the maximum damage range. So the XM4 here got a damage reduction from 22 to 21, and the range went from being 0 to 7 meters, which is abysmally short, to 16.5 meters. That is wonderful. Meaning the gun's gonna do less damage, but it's gonna do less damage out to 16 meters instead of one more damage out to only 7 meters. So basically they doubled its range in its maximum damage range. In medium range, however, it used to be 7.1 to 45.7, now it's 16.6 to 40.6. So even though the maximum has been doubled, the minimum has been reduced by about 5 meters. And then when it comes to minimum damage range, it used to start at 45.7 meters, but now it starts at 40.6. So at 40.6 meters, you're going to be dealing 17 damage. They also reduced the headshot multiplier barrel from 1.48 multiplier to 1.42. So now the XM4 is going to be melting up close a lot less and going to be more of a mid-range monster, and that's good. That's where it should be. A nice consistent 5-shot kill at mid-range that's going to require multiple headshots in order to melt somebody is perfect in my mind. It's going to make the XM4 way more consistent and give it a bit of a higher skill ceiling. Now, the AK-74, same thing. They reduced the damage by 1, but increased its maximum range from 5.7 to 38.1 meters. That is a crazy jump. It's now going to be dealing 27 damage out to 38.1 meters. They got rid of the medium damage range, and now you get a single damage drop off down to 22 damage at 38.1 meters. So you're going to be a nice long range consistent 4 to 5 shot kill. Love to see it. So you see what I'm saying here? This is what they're doing to these weapons. The AK-74 is now going to be a longer range, more consistent monster with that nice 4-shot kill, but the XM4 is going to just remain versatile with a consistent 5-shot kill. And this is what's happening across the board. The AIMS 85 went from 23 to 21, but its maximum damage range went from 8.3 meters to 50.8 meters. There's no medium damage range. After 50.8 meters, you drop down to 17 damage. This is wonderful for a higher rate of fire, completely zero recoil rifle like the AIMS. And then they just sort of buffed the GPR 91. It's going to be doing less damage up close, but its maximum damage range has been doubled pretty much from 10.1 to 19.1. Then its medium damage is also reduced by 1, and you only get it out to 45 meters, but then after 45 meters, you're going to get a 17 damage shot. Like, it's just more consistent, and I said it was a buff, but all of those are, of course, smaller numbers except for the maximum damage range. Well, the buff is that the headshot multiplier has been increased from 1.28 to 1.3, meaning it's going to be more consistent and it's going to reward headshots a little bit more at longer ranges, which I like. The GPR has best-in-class mobility, and now it's going to be a lot more consistent to use overall, and so I think we're going to have to keep our eye on that one. Model L, my baby, they nerfed him. It went from 29 damage to 27 damage, but it went from 8.9 meters range to a 44.5. They got rid of the middle damage range, and now after 44.5 meters, you're going to be dealing 22 damage. So again, it's either going to be a really consistent 4-shot or a really consistent 5-shot, unless you mix in headshots. But they did reduce the headshot multiplier from 1.3 to 1.15. So again, it should be less melty, but it should be more consistent. Goblin Mark II, they increased the range from 6.4 to 39.4, but they decreased the damage by 2, 39 to 37, got rid of middle damage range, and now after 39.4 meters, you're going to be dealing 30 damage, meaning you're going to be a 4-shot kill or a 3-shot kill. And your 3-shot kill is going to be out to 39.4 meters. The AS Val gets a little complicated. See, they took it from 21 damage to 20 damage, increased its range from 9.5 to 21.6, then they gave it a medium damage range 1 damage reduction from 20 to 17, but still out to 43.2 meters. Then there's no medium damage range 2. God, there's so much to read here. And they now have you dealing 15 damage after 43.2 meters instead of 53.3. So again, it's going to be more consistent by increasing that maximum damage range, but your like minimum damage range where you're way out there, like 50 meters, that's been reduced down to 43 meters. Hope that makes sense. Now SMGs is easy because they've basically done the same thing across the board with one outlier. That one outlier is the KSV's medium damage range 2. Because with every gun, it's basically been this exact same thing. Maximum damage range is increased by just a little bit, and then our medium damage range is increased by a little bit. and our minimum damage range is increased by a little bit. And this is the same for all of these weapons. The KSV is the only one that's an outlier because they changed its medium damage range to be 19 damage. It doesn't have the little buff arrow next to it, so I don't know if that is an intentional change, but now you're not going from 26, 21, 15, 13, you're going 26, 21, 19, 13, which should make the gun feel more consistent, especially since all of these ranges are being increased from 10 meters to 15 meters, from 26 meters to 29 meters. It's nice, I like it. And this is the same across the board. You can see here with the C9, they kept all the damages the same, but every range is increased, 12.7 to 13.3, instead of your minimum damage range being at past 27.3 meters, it's past 30.5 meters. So you're dealing pitiful, bad damage, but you're just not having these crazy hard cutoffs anymore. The Milano didn't get a change to its maximum damage range. That's still going to be 6.4 meters for that 38 damage per shot, but instead of that dropping off at 15.2, it's dropping off at 16.5, and instead of the next one dropping off at 25.4, it's dropping off at 27.9. So you're going to be dealing 28 damage a shot out till 27.9 meters, and that's not bad. Somehow, bizarrely, the PP919 also got this buff where you go from 15.9 meters to 16.5, 19.7 to 20.3, 29.2 to 31.8, and I don't get it with the PP919 because that gun's range is already crazy, and that's the case for the rest of these as well. You can see with the Jackal here as well, just a little increase, couple meters here or there, just to make the gun more consistent as time goes on. There's no other damage increases that I can see other than the KSV, but I'm not sure if that is a problem with the patch notes or otherwise. And these little changes are huge. Just increasing by like 1, 2, 3 meters, you're going to be just feeling a lot more consistent with your SMGs. So if you stretch your range out and you're able to land your shots, you should be rewarded more consistently instead of immediately punished by ARs doing your job better, because now the ARs are going to be a little less effective in close range due to that reduction in close range damage, but they're going to be better at mid-range due to the increase in just range in general. So I wanted this video to be closer to like 6 minutes, but unfortunately reading all of these out takes a while. If I misread or missaid any patch notes, it's because I'm reading this kind of fast, so I am sorry about that, but I hope you guys can bear with me, and I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm probably not going to make a video like this every time there's patch notes out, but it felt like it was important to do it now because these are important changes that are changing the meta so fast, and we usually don't get giant meta shifts like this quickly, but they happened. I promise the rest of my content isn't going to be as boring as reading patch notes, so like and subscribe for more, and I'll see you when I see you. Goodbye.